Oscar Johnson, what is your view on education university? What advice would you have for young people unsure of what to do in life? How does one find purpose in life? Cheers and thanks for all the inspiration. Thanks, Oscar. That's an interesting question, and there's a few similar questions on the same lines asked me about that. What would I do? What would I do? Obviously, for me, education wasn't the route. I wasn't for me as a person. Now, specialised education is needed. I see that when I take the children to the hospital and we're clueless about some things and the hospital can jump on it and say, yeah, I know what this problem is. I see that when I call on engineers to come and help us with our solar power. I see it when we have people like builders or old builders. You don't have to go to university. Specialised ways of thinking and ways of using the mind. I think they're amazing, but one of my problems I have with such things is, for example, I know a doctor who, I believe we have this spectrum ability as human beings where we can be powerful beings, and we can think openly to solve all problems. I like having my mind that way. A doctor, some are, don't get me wrong, but some doctors will take that away and say this is the avenue. So I've spoken to doctors who told me after 3 weeks of not eating, you die. Whereas I told them, well, I've ate for longer than that. I've gone for longer than that without any calories, just on water, for quite a bit longer than 3 weeks. And I didn't die. Now they can't accept it because the book says this. So then you tell them other stories. Well, I met people in that community who fasted on water for 40 days and 40 nights, then went back to a doctor like yourself, and the doctor said, well, your cancer's gone from your body. Your tumour has gone because your body has digested the least important parts of itself and digested the tumour. Likewise with heart patients, digesting the plaque in the arteries and stuff. And this doctor's so lodged in here, they won't accept what you're saying. But it's a fact. It's a reality. So to pull that back onto the idea of education and not education, find the purpose that works for you. But always keep hold of yourself if you're doing it. If you want to go and be a doctor, a medical doctor, then do that. We need them on the planet. Of course we need them. And we need institutions that are going to teach such skills. But don't let this part of you go away. Have that, but always have that with you. Always make sure that you're free thinking. Don't let an institution box your mind and say this is the only route, because these institutions are built on things like science, and as I always tell people, at the core of science you've got atoms. And our understanding of atoms is quantum physics, and when you try to understand quantum physics, a quantum physicist has to admit we don't understand how the atoms work. So how can you then say that you understand everything else? Because it's just not the case. So our foundation of life is based on mystery. We don't understand the workings of life because, as I've said, you can't understand existence because you're not the creator of existence, and the creator of existence will not be found in existence because they created it. Same as you don't find a baker inside his cake. So institutions that are doing that, we need them. I've seen beautiful things happen and amazing things be created in laboratories which have healed things like malaria and stuff like that. My life has been saved by such a person standing in a laboratory creating antibiotics for typhoid and for anti-malarials and stuff like this. And I'm eternally grateful for those people. If that's what you can express in your life, if that's what you're born to do, then go ahead and do it. Do it passionately as well. Like, you should do everything in life passionately. If, however, this is not for you, if you don't believe in that system and it's not working for you, get out in the world. See some of the world, you know. And I've worked a lot of jobs that I hated back in the West. But in working those jobs that you hate, you become yourself, because you start dreaming of what you want to do with your life. You start feeling what it is you want to achieve in your life. And you'll find if you're doing something you hate doing, you'll dream of it a lot more. So it'll become very clear to you what it is that you should be doing with your life. So, unsure of what to do with life? How does one find their purpose? I believe the purpose exists inside us, ultimately. And it might be university, it might be something different like myself. Your purpose might just to be an amazing parent who works a normal job, which allows us to have the society that we all depend upon at the moment for survival. Because you're going to raise a child who might do something spectacular. Just because you're only raising a child doesn't mean to say that's not spectacular. That's just as much purpose in life as someone like myself or someone else out in the world who looks like they're doing great things. But no one's journey is any less important, and no one's purpose is any less important. You know, if someone wasn't cleaning the streets, Fritzy said this the other day to me, if someone wasn't cleaning the streets at 4 o'clock in the morning, the whole system out there wouldn't work. Obviously I'm sitting in Hamburg at the moment. And that person doing that job, it might not seem spectacular, but it's important. And they might go home, they might be the best mother or father on the planet. And that's what matters. That's what matters. Your purpose is what resonates with you. If you're happy with what you've got, then you're there. If you're happy working the job you have and the children you have and the love you have around you, you're there. If you're hungry for something that you can't quench, then obviously the universe has another calling for you. So your purpose is inside yourself, is what I ultimately will say to everybody. If you go inside yourself, if you pray, you meditate, and you listen to the teachings of someone like Yeshua, the only way to God is through me. Not me, John, but as you say it out loud, through me, through yourself. This is where you find God, through yourself. And if you go inside, you'll hear the message. And I believe it travels to us via, as you all know, via the light of the universe, which comes into our bodies through the pineal gland. But if you want to know your purpose in life, make sure the light that's coming to you is organic. Make sure it's from the universe, from God. Make sure it's not constantly from a phone or from a TV or a computer, because that light is already manipulated, and that light is already going to box your opportunities, and it's also not going to tell you your purpose. It's going to tell you your purpose was within a system that someone's created. Your purpose might be outside of there, but if you want to hear it inside you, then go outside and let the light that travels to us from places that we've never even visited come to you and give you that message. Because that is where your purpose lays, inside yourself. But to hear it inside yourself, you must consume the correct information to hear it yourself, to awaken it within you, to get that message passed into the core of your being. And to do that, you need to meditate, you need to be silent, and then let your purpose be brought to you, not by me. Go within, let your purpose be told to you by the same thing that told me my purpose. So that would be my answer to that question. Neil has asked me a very important question. How are the plans coming to get more children and families living with you? They are going great, and I'm so happy you asked that. I am starting the construction of the second children's home. As soon as I return, that's what's beginning. We're also constructing another house, which will be called Villa Valdemar. And this is from, it's in memory of someone who's passed away, and his family have raised the money to build a 3-room house with a toilet. And that will be for palliative care or single parents with disabled children. The second main children's home will be the residency for other children who are going to stay with us, because we are struggling for space at the moment. But I already have children that we're looking after in the community. One girl called Glory. We have another blind child which we are probably going to bring into our care. And there's a great many children in Tanzania, but believe me. And once the new home is built and I can separate, we'll start working with the millions. There's millions of orphans in Tanzania. But in the town next to us, Himo, where Achille was sleeping on the streets, Achille has told us the stories of those children. And they have not left me since he told me. And when I have the space, when this new house is built, the new home is built, and I can keep the special needs children in one area and the other children in another, we'll be going there at night to further build relationships with these children with the want to bring them back and allow them to live at Featherstail under our care. The reason I say it takes time, all of these children are terrified of adults, so it takes a lot of time to gain trust of a street child in Tanzania. So you'll see on videos as we progress with that project, because it's a little bit different, and it's also a little bit, we're not sure about walking around the town with a camera at night, obviously, but we have the Maasai with us, so we should be okay. But you'll see. So it's coming great, ultimately, and you should be meeting a new resident or two before long, I dare say, within the next 4 weeks, actually. So, good question, thank you. Lemon Yellow. My question would be, how do you deal with things emotionally? Do you have a good cry sometimes? Interesting question, because I've had some... Okay, I don't cry. And now this has become a problem of mine, is that I haven't been crying in Tanzania because there's too much to cry about. So I stopped. Pretty soon after I got there, I stopped. I didn't cry. And I like this question because at Christmas, Fritzi and I have discussed this a lot about my not crying. At Christmas was the first time I cried in a long time, 18 months, the first time I cried properly. And it was from a hug from my nephew, who my brother had told him I was upset. My nephew's not even 2 years old, and he ran over to me and gave me a hug, and it made me cry. And then my brother gave me a hug, and then my nephew hugged us both at the same time, which made me worse. So dealing with things emotionally, I've been using meditation, but I've been suppressing stuff, and I know I've been doing this, but as I say, there's so much to cry about in Tanzania that after the first, I don't know when it started happening, but there was a time where I would cry and then it just went away and I stopped crying. So the answer is no, but I'm hoping that's going to change. Meditation helps me, and running helps me a lot as well. And having my time alone with my meditation and stuff allows me to process things a lot. And, you know, sometimes I would like to cry, but I'm in a strange position where the children, I make myself as human as I can be. And Fritzi's been pointing out sometimes with the children that I don't, because I don't let them see me get upset and tired and things like this, because I want them to feel secure with me. I want them to feel secure in the fact that I'm providing for them. But this is not the right way to be a parent, I've discovered, because they need to see you're human at the same time. But it's allowed me my quiet time on an evening and stuff, and meditating for now, and I've been able to cope. Being able to cope with enough to get things done. But I might have sort of broke a crying seal at Christmas, I think, because I've had 1 or 2 cries since then as well. So let's see. Maybe if you ask me that question in 3 or 4 months, I might just say yes. But up to now, then I've had some issues with crying, actually. So, but I think, like I say, it's just there's so much to cry about. Where do you begin? Where do you stop? So.